From Senegal to Sugar Hill, trace the bloodline. 100 years of brilliance through the color line. They thought the shackles broke but kept the mental chain. Langston penned the future while they legislated pain. Harlem's ballrooms birthed the cosmos in mahogany, while lynching trees still decorated southern botany. Josephine, Waker's pearls and Garvey's Navy ships. Du Bois debating destiny with scholarship on his lips. The Renaissance was a renaissance, it was resistance, fam. Every trumpet blast from Armstrong was a battering ram. They gave us minstrel shows, we gave them Sora Neal. Turned depression into art, made the fabricated real. Cotton Club excluded us from tables every set. To form the Deanest Nightly, never free from the deck. But Bessie Smith could shatter glass, shatter cash, shatter lies. Every note she sang contained a revolution in disguise. Build temples from the rubble, make cathedrals from the struggle. Turn the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We build temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from. Fast forward through the decades, watch the pattern reassemble. Malcolm's speeches, Martin's marches, every voice begins to tremble to the earth until the structure shows its fractures. FBI was tracking every coon with every pastor, every actor. 40 acres never came but 40 minutes on a stage. To reconvene your consciousness and channelize the rage. From bebop to hip-hop, the fool lines mathematical. Each generation weaponized the beautiful, the radical. They gave us Reagan out as crack and mass incarceration. We gave them Public Enemy and blueprints for liberation. The Harlem Renaissance never ended, just evolved its form. Every freestyle cipher is a brainstorm, is a storm. Where the children of the talented, the tenth that was prophesied, inherit the fire that the water couldn't wash aside. They tried to write us out the narrative. We offered all on text, 100 years of proof, and that we're destined where was next. Temples from the rubble, made cathedrals from the struggle. Turned the largest to the center, now they study what we scribble. We built temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from.
All right, this is, and you are under the groove. We are touching bases with the people. Grand Rising, everybody. Peace and blessings to you and yours. This is Thursday Eve. We're looking towards and knocking at the door of Friday. You know, a lot of us, when we get there, we say, thank God it's Friday. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Another day above ground and in paradise. All right, here we are. Let's get it, man. Let's do how we do. This is where we see no evil, hear no evil, and speak no evil. Everything we do here, man, on touching bases with the people is above board. It's straight. It's solid. You know, it's stumped down. We focus on the focus in order to get to that part or where we want to get down with this get down, man, with everything we got. You know, our focus dictates that, you know. This is where B1 equals black first, unapologetically, respectfully, but unapologetically, we say black first. You know, it means a lot. It goes a long way, man, especially when you get to the point where you understand what it means. It means we need to get us together before we can do anything for and with anybody else. All right. That's what that is. All right, Antonio Anthony, I see you up in this get down, my brother. Always, man. Good look, man. It's a good look. Appreciate you. Oh, man. What was the day like for everybody? You know, me, I have no complaints, you know. The day goes pretty much as I planned it, you know. First and foremost, I go into my day realizing, man, this is a new get down for me. I have an opportunity to improve, you know, and that's what I push forward. That's what I push forward. That's what I go towards. I realize that I can't allow anybody, man, to rent space up in here. You know, I am the master of that domain. Therefore, man, whatever I decide is or what needs to be, that will be what it is and what it will be. So, you know, again, I ain't got no business pointing no fingers at nobody, you know, about my day or my life, because I am in control of that. I have to know this in order to, you know, go through my day, man, without extraneous or issues that are outside of the scope of what I have planned for me. You know what I mean? There it is. Queen and Zinc, I see you up in here. Peace and blessings to our loved ones in the Royal Group congregation. Black first, kings and queens. That's the way it's supposed to be. You know, say less, say less. But that's some real stuff. Uh, yeah, I was in the studio today for a little while, putting out that content, and proud to say, that the majority, all of the content is um devoid of negativity, especially directed at or concerned with our people, us. That's not I don't want my hat in that ring. Let me put it to you like that. You know, um, I'd rather focus on something, man, that either is positive or promotes productivity or empowers our people rather than bring something to our people or compound already, those issues that are already holding us back or having us struggle, man, beyond what probably is normal for any other ethnic group to go through. I prefer that we work together, find a way to first communicate so that we can work together. um that's what it is, man. That's what it is. I can't say any more to that, than that. But the content I did drop today, like I said, man, it regarded or it concerned geopolitics as well as national politics. This is something I'm into. I've always been like that. I'm not the best at dispensing what's really going on, or articulating it to a point to where it's understood, it's articulate, and it's boom on point. But I think I do well. I do all right, just for just for sustenance or your content. I dropped some stuff today dealing with what we're dealing with in the world. I don't know if many of you know, but on the brink of war with Iran again, and again, it shows that Trump lied from the jump. He campaigned on, oh, I won't, take this country to war. I'm not a war president. I want peace. We're going to do da. That is not what he's been doing in the last year. In the last year, man, since he got in office, he came in office bombing people. Now he, to some people's reckoning, he is at the behest, or he pretty much does what the Zionist regime wants him to do, and that is fight their war. That's sad, man, but it is what it is. Trump, for whatever reason, doesn't realize that here in these United States, there are issues that need to be addressed regarding or concerning the people here, taxpayers or otherwise. Um, like I said, it's sad, man. It's sad that nothing is going on here of substance. Nothing is going on here that is going to enfranchise or bring the people into a position in their lives where they can not only work for a living but build something for them and their families. Instead, your president or the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, man, has decided that the people don't matter. The people do not matter. Now, that being said, there's also speculation that he's doing all of what he's doing, especially when we're talking about what's coming down the pipes. They say in the next 24 to 48 hours, the United States will be at war with Iran. Now, some are saying or speculating that that's only because he needs to distract the American public from whatever is going on in these Epstein files. And I'm telling you, it's a lot of bahooey. Here's some stuff up in there, man, that they're trying to keep out of the public eye. Again, one of the ways he's doing it is by or through creating issues and conflict with other countries, other people over stuff, man, that don't have anything to do with these United States. Technically, it just doesn't. Um, that Zionist regime, man, they are more than capable of not only sustaining themselves financially, productively, and things of that nature, you know. So, the thought is, why are we for one, giving them money, assisting them militarily as well as financially. It makes no sense when you have situations here in these United States where the people are suffering. And trust and know, we are suffering. We're going through it. Seems to be, it seems like it will turn out to be one of the worst times in our country's president's history. You know what I mean? All bad, all bad. And I mean all bad. You know, that's just how bad it is. If war comes, what will that do, to not just the economy, but to the people? That means then people are going off to fight a war that really has nothing to do with us. That's sad in and of itself. Okay. Again, we have situations or circumstances here that we aren't addressing, but we want to address someone way across the world in terms of what they want to do for themselves. Why is that an issue? Why is that an issue that Iran wants to enrich uranium for first? And they say this for, for the country's benefit. Most countries that take care of themselves, sustain themselves, they have nuclear reactors. They enrich uranium because that is what propels or lights up the city. It's energy. Why are people denying, or countries, a few in particular, denying Iran or anyone else this benefit? Well, some say, well, because you can't trust Iran. Who said? Who said? There are only two people, maybe three or four countries who said you can't trust Iran with uranium or enriched uranium because they'll make a bomb. And, well, I mean, what's the problem with that? What's the problem with that? Most of you who saying don't give them a bomb that's capable of carrying, nuclear warhead, man, have nuclear weapons, have bombs with nuclear warheads attached to them. So come on, man. I think it's a matter of leveling the playing field. You know what I mean? Just say, for instance, everybody had one, it would be an equalizer. People that run roughshod, or governments that run roughshod over other governments that bully other governments, man, would then have to pause and think about what they're doing. Like, hey, man, this could create a scenario where nuclear holocaust would become a reality. So, no, we're not going to go down that path or that route. We're not going to go that route. We're going to really exercise diplomacy. But because some countries don't possess nuclear armaments, those countries that do press lines. Like, hey, man, this is what we got. We don't just have a great military. For instance, we have bombs. It's a bully tactic, man. And some countries are actually tired of that. Some countries are, hey, man, this is 2026. You people are still trying to colonize other people. You're still going in or wanting to come in, demanding to come into other people's lands, sovereign nations, and strip them of their natural resources just so that you and yours, can live a better life. All the while, when you strip or take these resources from these countries, you don't give nothing in return. These countries are still, in a lot of respects, third world countries. You take the minerals, you take the resources, and you give nothing back in terms of what that worth is. You know what I mean? What you've extracted and taken. You never bring it back to that community. Say, okay, here's your cut. Not just a decent cut, but an equitable cut, a justified cut of what you guys are coming in to these other sovereign nations and taking from the land back home. I see nothing wrong with it. I just don't. And in fact, like I said, I think it levels the playing field. It would give pause to those who call themselves superior, superpowers, or whatever. It gives them pause to think about their actions. what they're saying, disrespecting, just talking crazy to other countries, they would pause. If everyone had that type of situation, imagine, man, people would be on their P's and Q's. But because these countries don't have them, look at what they do. If Venezuela had that type of situation, I think that America would have thought not twice, 3, 4 times before they even thought that they would go in there and do something like that. Because hey, man, they have defenses. We even went and kidnapped their president. We abducted, an elected official of a sovereign nation. If they had that situation, that wouldn't have occurred. If Libya had those types of situations, in their arsenal, what happened to Gaddafi and his son would not have occurred. I mean, yeah, there is a such thing as destabilizing nations. This is what most of these Western nations involve themselves in, destabilizing nations, so that they can come in and say, hey, not so they can demand to come in, or in most instances, just come in and say, this ain't right. We're going to fix this for y'all, whether you like it or not. That would cease. That attitude, that mindset would cease. So yeah, I think it is it's to get down. You know what I mean? It's to get down. Let me get these comments. I just seen the comment. Acres Home 44 say H Town, Little Travis. What's that word, G? I'm Big Travis. I'm gonna clear that up right now. I'm Big Travis, you know what I mean? So there that is, bro. Who you may be referring to is my son, but yeah, I'm Big Travis, man. But as far as that go, man, everything is everything on this end, man. This is touching bases with the people. You want to come in and touch bases with me on whatever, man. Come on in, man, and we'll work that out together in terms of whether or not that's something we can discuss. All right. But appreciate you seeing in here, Acres Home 44, man, and peace and blessings to H Town, man. Hope that you brothers and sisters over there are doing the right thing, doing what's positive, being productive, empowering one another, man, and just, pushing forward, man, and representing B1, Black first, man. All right. Black first. So there that is. Remy Scott, what's happening, bro? He said, greetings, bro. Tapping in. I trust all is well with your family. Me and mine are great, enjoying this rainy night. Shout out to the Royal Group congregation. Yeah, so we got a little let up over here on this end, though, Roscoe. I was in the studio earlier. When I come out, it had rained, and it rained pretty well because, man, the streets were kind of flooded. And, I'm downtown LA, whatever. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm glad I missed that, and the whole time I'm jumping back on the freeway to come home. I'm like, just don't let it rain. So it hasn't rained since, man. That's not to say it's not going to rain. Right before I started this, I come inside, but I was outside looking up. Clouds are dark. They're dark and low. So chances are we're going to get more water. You know what I mean? We're going to get a whole lot more water, man. But in regards to you and yours, man, hey, man, stay dry, stay warm, stay dry and stay warm. That's what's up. Yeah. But yeah, we had this situation again in the country, or in terms of the world, where the world is about to be at war for whatever reason, man. These neocons, these war hawks, man, these people, the military industrial complex people, all of them, they're gunning and pushing for conflict, for war, and it's crazy because most of them, they don't see the big picture. They just see dollars. Okay, I can sell a product, a weapon, and that's bad, man. They're not looking at the overall picture, so started out talking about that, man. America may be going to war in the next 24 to 48 hours with Iran. It's being said that it's a proxy war, it's really being orchestrated, or it's being it's they're going to war for the Zionist regime, for Israel. You know, that's alleged. You know what I mean? But in any respect, man, damn, Iran is saying, man, come over here if you want to. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be bigger and better for them than you think. You know, they have something in store, and they're saying, man, not only that, but the whole region. It won't just be us, you know, in conflict with the U.S. in the Zionist regime. It's gonna be everybody that's down with y'all. You know, we're gonna go after everybody, and that is, I'm telling you, man, that is a can of worms. That is a can of worms. Now, couple that with the fact that China and Russia are saying, you know, North Korea are saying, yeah, hey man, we're not having this, man. Enough's enough. Enough's enough. This being the bully of the world has to end, you know, and I kind of agree with it. Like I said, you know, come what may, come what may. You know, growing up, man, we had to learn. Like I spoke the other night about bullies, and we have to learn how to deal with them. You know what I mean? We have to. We have to either, you know, confront that thing head on, man, or figure out ways to, you know, where you don't have to be live and direct with them, but work something out to the point where they see, you know, the situation or the individuals in a different light, and you know, say, all right, man, you know, I don't care. Yeah. But I think that's something that the U.S. and Israel needs badly, a checking. A checking. Iran said you're going to get slapped in the face. It's going to be a slap. It's going to be a slap that's so hard it's going to straighten you up or bend you over, you know. So, hey, again, I'm just that type of guy, that man that understands that some things have to take place. Some things must occur in order for changes to take effect, you know. Otherwise, things will remain the same. And for us, you know, just speaking in terms of how what we're going through and how we deal with a lot of shit, you know, a lot of things, just, you know, in general. Yeah, man, it should be the same with us. Enough. When is enough enough? You know, when is enough enough? We have to, at some point in this existence, in our existence, take a stand. Take a stand, man, and then, you know, only take those stands, of that stand which is being taken to empower the people, you know, to bring to the people something they lack. You know what I mean? To go to fight for the people for the things that not only they want or need, but they deserve, have a right to. You know, that's how I see that, man. That being said, like I say, man, this is one of them things, man, that's happening in the world today. A few other things have taken place. You know, I did a few. I think I did maybe. I dropped maybe 6 pieces of content, you know, but I think the most important one, the most relevant one, was or is about this ensuing, or this inevitable war with the U.S. and Iran. Uh, it's some scary stuff, man. It's some scary stuff, man. And again, I say, man, I'm the type of guy. Okay, man. Then if it's gonna rain, let it rain. You know, if it's gonna rain, let it rain. Some everybody gonna get wet, you know. Very few will stay dry, you know. Not when it's raining. You ain't gonna When it's raining, you ain't gonna stay dry. You know, you gonna get wet, you know. So let's see how that play out, man. And I'm just straight up, man. I'm rooting to see that people are made to readjust their behavior, you know, and that, you know, that just don't go for geopolitics, world politics, politics here in the United States, man, but that goes towards, or to, the politics of us, our people. You know, people have to, you know, it should be that when people are going about things the wrong way, they need to be checked. They need to be put in their right place, you know what I'm saying? So that harm or, you know, pain cease to exist, or it's not a continuous thing, you know? People have suffered a whole lot, a whole lot. And that's why I say I know enough's enough. A lot of our people are saying this. They're not just feeling it. They see it. They see to where, hey man, I'm tired of seeing this. Enough's enough. They think it, and that's why we need to be on point, especially us, especially the melanated people. Now, and if this thing goes down, then what? Then what? If Russia gets dragged into this situation, if China gets dragged into this situation, if North Korea get drags into this situation, hey man, that's a bad look. That means there's about to be a real live catastrophe, all three of which I just named have ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, that can reach where we are, that day, man, that's not a good look. So even, when we talk about being prepared, stand ready so you don't have to get ready, this is part of why we say that, you know what I mean? Because at any time, at the drop of a dime or a hat, things can go bad. If that occurs, if that should ever happen, ask yourself, just thinking about it, it's not happening now, but think about it, ask yourselves, are you ready? Are you prepared? Do you have those things that are necessary to sustain you if things go bad? And again, Ben, if that type of war breaks out, it will evolve into a World War III type of scenario. No doubt about that. And if that happens, trust and know things are going to get bad real quick. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Are you making sure that, your family, you and your family can sustain themselves for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months, for 6 months? Stay ready. You don't have to get ready. Let me jump in these comments, man. All right, Lisa Moore, I see you, Queen. She had blessings, big bro. Peace and love to the kings and queens in the chat. Be one black first. Love it when y'all say this. Love it when you put it in the comments. And this thing, I'm telling y'all, man, will catch on. And it's just not, some average, theme, saying, what I mean? This is an anthem, be one black first. What I mean? This is something that I think has weight to it. Very significant, man. It's significant, especially to us if we wake up and pay attention to what it means. Again, man, we can't do nothing for no one else, man. I don't care what it is we would like to do for other people, but we can't do nothing for anyone else if we don't have ours together first. You know, so we have to think about these things, man. And this is something, we should do every day, not all day, but every day. You want to make sure you're prepared. All right. Raymond's Cole, man. Raymond says, if all these countries get dragged into this conflict, World War III is the outcome. But I'm sure they know that war stops money. Yes and no. The ones who will be making money are the military industrial complex. Those who make and produce weapons will be the only ones making some real bread. Because if you look at it, if war ensues, if war happens, wherever whatever country imports, exports foods and things of that nature, those things that we we need to live by, live on, all those routes and those deliveries, those imports, exports will, for the most part, dwindle, not cease to exist. But look at it like this: if a world war occurs, certain waterways will be shut down. Straight up, certain waterways will be shut down. And in fact, Iran has already said, hey man, mess with us, we're gonna shut down the Strait of Hormuz. And that's a major waterway for energy, resources, oils and things of that nature. So hey man, only the only ones who will benefit financially from war, period, point blank, are those who are in the business of producing weapons of war. you know that's it. you know So yeah, the thing is also, hey man, the people won't benefit, you know. The people won't benefit. War doesn't necessarily stop money, and especially look, man, America's one of America's greatest product or GDP is attached to weapons of war. A lot of Americans don't know that America makes a lot of its money selling weapons and boasting that they have the best weapons in the world. Then there's Russia, then there's China, North Korea, even Iran. They, that's hey man, weapons are money makers. So for those countries who don't think that their armies are adequately supplied, they spend billions, on weapons. So let's say, this thing starts to heat up and one country after another starts coming into this conflict. Those countries not yet in it will be saying, hey man, we need to go spend what we got in the war chest. We need to spend 10 billion on some defense. Just imagine that, man. I recall doing a piece a week or so ago when Norway, the Norwegians were saying, because of how Trump is carrying on with the NATO, allies in terms of defending them against Russia. I don't know how that even came to play, but that's the way that game goes too. Anyway, they were saying, hey, man, America has its hands full with other issues all over the world. We can't depend on America. We need a weapon. And they were talking about a nuclear weapon, building their own. And I was kind of shocked for a minute because I thought that Norway, had a nuclear weapon, but they're being very adamant about that. You know what? We're not, we got to do our own thing. And this is how a lot of countries are starting to think now, because America, the way they do business, the way they exercise diplomacy and things of that nature, they saying it's done in such a way, it's just disrespectful. It's disrespectfully done, So with the thing or the issue with Canada, and then the thing or the issue with Greenland, these other European nations say, hey, man, we got to watch these Americans. Not only that, man, let them know if you mess with Canada or if you mess with Greenland, we got to have that fight. Whether or not they mean it or not, I don't know, but that's the message. We're not having none of that, Again, we're in a situation, excuse me, we're in a situation where, man, things can go bad like quick, man. Drop of a hat, man, it can go that bad, that quick. So, again, the way I think about the world and everything, man, it's not necessarily indicative or it doesn't reflect, the mindset or opinions of other people. I think that a lot of this stuff we see in, especially with the US and how they run roughshod or tell people, hey man, we run this regardless, that has to be checked by any means, So, again, just for the sake of saving lives, let's hope it don't happen. But if it does, then what side you on? Because it's gonna come to that. It's gonna come to that. And this generation plus a few others haven't understood or known war on that level. You know what I mean? The last wars that we know of in terms of the United States, man, being involved in conflict or warfare with other nations was the Iraq War, Afghan War. Before that, Vietnam, and that didn't turn out well for the U.S. It just did it, They'll tell a different story, but that did not turn out well for the U.S. Then there was the Korean War. There was World War II, you know what I mean? World War I, and then all the other wars, revolutionary wars, otherwise, wars for freedom, independence, da, da, da. But this generation and others before it don't understand, you know, what war is, one, and what it would bring, you know, to the people too, you know. So, and for that reason, I say, okay, man, maybe I need to, you know, fall back a little bit on what I think should take place. You know, that doesn't mean, you know, it's not good, man. It's not good. You know, and that's what that is. Um, yeah. So yeah, like I said, I did that thing this morning, and 5 other pieces. Damn, I don't know how I forgot what else I'd done, but I've done quite a few pieces. And but again, that one was the most important piece I did today. This being Black History Month, uh, it's a shame that we can't, as a people, actually, just as a people in general, commemorate and recognize and respect, the contributions of a certain segment of the population in terms of what they contributed to society on a whole. That's sad, man, that we have to otherwise be focused on Donald Trump and his distractions. Again, whatever is going on in them Epstein files is serious enough for him to try to find a way to divert the people's attention from that. Whether or not he's dead serious about striking Iran in the next 24, 48 hours remains to be seen. But again, I think that whatever is in those Epstein files is serious enough in his mind for him to do something to get this burden off his back. Him being discovered as being allegedly, a pedo, not just him, but others. Or another piece I did today was about the guy Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly known as Prince Andrew, was arrested in the UK. And I saw that as just more the same. It's all a game. It's all a game. So they said, okay, we're gonna arrest you, a member of the royal family. Come on, man, just think about that. We're gonna arrest you. And the charges are um basically you did not fulfill your role in terms of you did not do what you were supposed to do in the capacity you were in terms of government. You were passing along information, confidential information, to guess who? Guess who? Jeffrey Epstein. You were passing along information to Jeffrey Epstein, and it's been going on for years, come to find out, more than a decade, about the business dealings of the UK and other countries that they did business with, or whatever agreements they had reached. You gave this information, or he gave that information, to Jeffrey Epstein. So they arrested him for that today. But you mean to tell me you're not going to arrest him for, these other charges allegedly that he's supposed to have committed, being involved in human sex trafficking, sexual abuse of minors, allegedly. What? Y'all didn't investigate that? So when I first got the thread, in my timeline, I said, no, this is some BS, man. This their way of slapping him on the wrist, but him not going to prison. He's not going to go to prison. That I don't see that. When I got the piece, they were saying they didn't know where he was. I said, I hope y'all didn't think he was in the police station. He would never set foot in a police station. And I guarantee you, I bet you, he was not handcuffed. They probably took him over to some conference room at some popular, hotel, motel, and waited for whoever runs the criminal justice system over there, for debrief, debriefing. King Charles threw his hat in the ring. So, once he got to talking about a lot of stuff, then whatever they think or whatever he's been arrested for, it's nothing. but it will be enough to extract him from what the hell is in them Epstein files. They're trying to get him out of that limelight. Just like Trump. Trump's trying to divert the people's attention from whatever involvement he has or had, with Jeffrey Epstein. So he's trying to redirect people's focus. The UK is doing the same thing with formerly Prince Andrew, the Duke of York. Ain't nowhere in the world, man, that man gonna set a foot in nobody's jail or prison. Care what he did. Think about it. Think about it. And then think about this. That's the mindset of the rich, of the ruling class. They don't go to jail. They don't serve no time, man. Not if you plugged in and you finna right family, you got the right type of bread. All that stuff will get swept under the rug. That's just the way it works, man. That's the way it works. But yeah, that was another piece I did. I thought that was insightful or telling. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Anyway, Pope Mitchell Podcast TV said World War III means no winners, no more crying over spilt milk, and no need to get on the boat. Our faith is all we got, our families, and making good out of our B1 situations. There it is. There that is, again, I tell y'all, this thing is deeper than what we suspect, It's deeper than we suspect, man. And again, I'm speaking in terms of or what's going on in the world or in the United States about them Epstein files. I say, and I will say again, there are files within those files that they're trying their damnedest to not get out to the public. We'll see how that turns out, man. We'll see how that turns out. But yeah, World War III, man, would be, that's a situation, that's a situation that's going to set everybody back. And maybe the intent is to reset the clock, is to minimize other powers, other countries, ability to have a voice, stand up on their own, whatnot. Maybe that's part of the plot, to diminish the military, to weaken that state, that sovereign country, and then rewind or reset the world order. I also suspect that Africa will come into play, if this thing happens. And then there's the thought that Africa may be split in terms of who or what side they'll support if a world war should occur. Half of them gonna go with the West, with their masters, and the other half of what would be or is that half that say, hey man, we see the problem, we want to help rectify it, so it remains to be seen, man, and I can't wait to see what that's going to turn out to be, like I said. But again, I don't need to see it, just because I understand if something like that occurs, a lot of people are going to lose their lives. That's just the way it is. And again, Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea all have the capability of reaching the mainland. They have it. The ICBM, some of them have, man, was shot. Well, the government knows this. The government knows this. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll see how that plays out. And again, hopefully it plays out to the benefit of the people and not the benefit of the super rich or those politicians who want to just control the world, there that is. All right. Yeah, just got an informative text just now for one of the loved ones. Shout out to my loved one, Al Sasser, man. Hope that you're doing well, bro. Peace and blessings to you and your family, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You are an inspiration and motivation for brothers who recognize, man, your direction and your purpose, man. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. You know, so many more of us should be so inclined, to get involved, man, with the community. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. All right. Yeah, man. So yeah, a whole lot is going on. No doubt about that. And again, we'll see in the next couple of days how far this thing will go. But again, this, if war does ensue, if war takes place, it is a proxy war. And the Zionist regime is behind, or is the reason, or are the people pulling the strings, and having America involved in their mess. And that's what it is. It's their mess. Iran is and has been a thorn in the side of that regime. If it were not for Iran being situated the way they are, the Zionist regime would have been took over that whole region. They'd have been ran roughshod over those in Gaza, as well as the West Bank, Syria, Lebanon. I mean, come on, man. They would have been, because it's in their minds, it's in their hearts to take over that whole region anyway. They think it belongs to them. These Europeans think that region belongs to them, and that's crazy. That's crazy. But again, if this war happens, and a lot of people think it's inevitable, that it's imminent. Hey, man, let's hope that people are ready, man. Let's hope that people are ready. I think blacks will be more ready than anybody, because we have always been in survivor mode. You know what I mean? It would be sad to see how people will have to struggle just to survive, especially when they don't have the first understanding, they have no firsthand knowledge of a real struggle. That's not to say, a lot who migrate here did not leave behind struggle. But this is going to be on a whole nother level. And, I think that black people have always been prepared for that, struggle, war, whatever, it's just the way we are wired. So, yeah, man. Matter of fact, go check out the podcast, All Things Politics 26. By tomorrow, that name will change. I have everything in place. The name of the podcast, the channel now, is The Art of Political Discourse. So that's set up. Tomorrow it will be up and running. We're gonna make sure that everything is set in place already. So it's just a matter of attaching everything. And subscribe again, subscribe, right now it's All Things Politics, but tomorrow the name will change. It will still be, though, the same hookup, the same link, just a different name. All right. As well, man, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Under the Groove Podcast, touching bases with the people more specifically. Subscribe if you see fit, but for sure, we would like for you guys to like, share, and comment to this get down, so that we could continue to, come and address the people, or be a part of the people's addressing, be a part of the people, be involved, be informative, be educational, be about be one. So yeah, you guys' participation, your viewership and participation in this channel, man, would be greatly appreciated. I can't say that enough. Some say, man, it go without saying, Bub, you ain't got to say that. Yeah, I get it, but I would be remiss just not to say it, because we have people that come in all the time. They don't really understand the get down just yet, so it's about giving them clarity, understanding in terms of what this podcast is about, and the support that we ask for from not just our viewers, like I said, but from our RGC, man, and from those who for the first time have come in and seen what this thing is all about. All right. Yeah. Yeah, Hollywood. I just got another somebody just dropped something on me just now, man. So yeah, in Hollywood is a problem. Um, we ran the piece last night, the very short clip of Kyrie Irving and his discussion in terms of the world being full of fakers, bad actors, bad actors, you know. Um, Hollywood is full of that. And it's so bad that that uh characteristic, the one we are talking about in terms of Hollywood and what it does, you know, um, has spilled over. It's in society now. Most of us in society, most of our brothers and sisters are bad actors. You know, there's no other way to put that. Um, I don't know, man, whether or not, you know, these brothers and sisters realize again, man, that, you know, life is too short, man. It's too short, man, for the BS that, you know, is going on in our communities, man. So if there's time, and hopefully there is, brothers and sisters can get it together. Oh, I did another piece, speaking of sisters, um, dealing with the women's bodybuilding, the competitive sport of women's bodybuilding. And that shit is, man, that shit, the shit going on in that shit's scary, you know. Uh, these women are bigger than men. I'm 225, maybe 230. I'm 6'2", maybe 6'3". Man, they got women in there my height, but surpassing my weight, all muscle, you know. And this is as a result of their steroid use. These women, man, have lost their voices. They no longer speak or sound like women. They all grow facial hair, and they can't stop the process because they've taken so much of the steroid that it's altered their biochemistry. You know how the body for a woman's supposed to function. Their clitorises, they say, are inch and longer. You know what I mean? So like what? You know, sad, man. Then there's the fact that the steroids they take kills them. They sudden SD SCD, sudden cardiac death. You know, and that's just as a result of taking these steroids. Now, the coldest part about the steroid is that they are the same steroids they shoot into the meat people eat, cows, pigs, or whatever. I saw a cow, man, that was just so muscular as a result of these steroids. And again, they shoot the steroids in the meat so that um, that piece of meat, that animal could grow more rapidly, you know? So that means then that same steroid that they're shooting in the meat, that same steroid that these sisters are shooting into themselves, and as a result, ending up, you know, their hormonal balance has changed, it's altered completely. They would never go back to being women. These same steroids, again, are in the meat a lot of people eat. So you want to start to ask these questions. Why then are people acting like this? Yeah, you know, they're ingesting these steroids. You know, these steroids again cause health issues. Not only that, they alter not just the body but the brain. You know, that would probably um, account for why a lot of our people are so agitated and volatile. You know, they may be suffering from roid rage. Who knows? Who knows? You know? All right, James, I'll see you up in here, brother. You say I'm 210, 6'1" of pure chocolate. All right, bro. All right. You say I'm late, but I'm here with the RGC fully under the groove. Oh, shit. Excuse me. As we say, man, better late than never. Here you are, man. So that's a good look. Appreciate your presence. You already know, man. Peace and blessings to you and yours, man. Come on, let's get it in. You're going to say, okay, I read that part. You say I'm late, but I'm here. Yeah, man. So that's to get down. We got that issue, the most, I think, important issue facing us. Damn, in spite of over what we're going through, is the fact that this idiot is about to take us to war, a war that could very well end up being a world war, World War III to be exact. That's not a good look. That's not a good look, man. Like I said, and then the other thing we discussed is, which I just brought up because I had to recall what I've dropped. I dropped so much stuff today. The effects of female bodybuilders in use of steroids. Man, y'all need to go check that piece out, man, and just look at that shit, man. That shit is crazy. Then we got one in particular, sister named Iris Kaylee, I think it is, something like that. Don't even look like a woman. These steroids have altered their bone structure. All these women, man, and it's a lot of them on it. They have square jaws, square faces now. There's nothing delicate or feminine about the contours of the face anymore with them. All of them have hair. They all have to shave every day. Every time they get up, they have to shave. Damn, the sister though was the worst, in my opinion, of all of them that I looked at, and there were plenty. The sister was the worst. And the coldest part about that, not that she looked the worst, or she did not look like a woman anymore. And I mean that, man. It's not like she looked like a tranny. No, she looks like a man, no femininity about her at all. But anyway, the worst part of this is not the fact that her body is altered and changed. She's no longer a woman, but she knowingly continued to shoot the steroids, disregarding the fact that she would be altered forever. She was like, I'm cool with that. Again, man, that whole thing, that whole scene of female bodybuilders, man, in the US, man, that's some crazy stuff, man. I mean, you go check that out, man. All Things Politics 26, and then you tell me. I'll tell you some scary stuff, man. James said, man, what you got planned for the weekend? Because oh man, shit, me and the wife gonna hit the road Saturday. Just enjoy a good drive. You know what I mean? We're gonna drive way out. We're gonna enjoy ourselves Saturday, man. That's for Saturday. So that day is pretty much filled. Sunday I'll be in the studio with some guests. A lot of our Queen sisters, gonna pull up. Because at the end of the month, every month at the end of the month, I give them access to the studio for them to meet up and do whatever business they need to do or take care of. One of the organizations is Mothers of the Community. Another is Beautiful Minds. And then one or two of these individuals also have an organization called The Tables. The Tables it is described as a gathering of sisters, a congregation of sisters from all different sets, Mothers of the Community, same thing, but they're a little more active, I think. I don't want to say nothing that I'm not too sure of, but they do a lot of community work, for the kids, for our kids, and Beautiful Minds is another uh, situation podcast, even I think, that's ran by Lucinda, the sister who is a psychiatrist. So I'll be with her Sunday. She and I will sit down and we'll chop it up. I'll be her guinea pig, so to speak. I'll sit down with her and and see how much she knows. You know what I mean? See if she can dig anything out of me, you know. I'm actually looking forward to that interview for a number of reasons, but yeah, that's what it is. All right. My weekend is booked. Is actually booked. So tomorrow though, Friday being the beginning of, you know, the end of the week. Shoot, man, I'll probably be in the studio. I'll be in the studio, no doubt about that, you know. And then again, like I said, Saturday, man, we're out and about. We're just gonna enjoy, you know, ride together. We're gonna go as far as we can go, you know what I mean? Just enjoy the day. And Sunday I'll be in the studio, you know. I was talking to one of the brothers today, Pope to be exact, and we were discussing, you know, a gathering for some of us who can make it, who those of us who are in LA, we could find a place, you know, to go sit down and have brunch or lunch and chop it up, maybe even record the session, you know, the gathering. So this is something I'm working with, or I will be working with tonight, especially with my wife, to see if there's are any ideas in terms of where we can go, what the seating looks like, and you know, things of that nature. Because also we would prefer that it be a place that has a round table that people can sit at. You know, you ever been in some of these hotels where they have the conference room, they have these huge round tables, you know, for weddings and you know, things of that nature. Well, so we're looking for that type of setting. If we get it, and I was telling Pope, just we try to set up for 8 to 10 people because we don't know what to get out or what the numbers will look like, who will be able to attend and who won't be able to attend. So, and this is in the making. We probably won't announce this to next week. You know, hopefully we have those who want to be a part of that, want to participate with that. And, you know, if so, man, the more the merrier. We'll have our first sitting together, so to speak. And that's right. You know, that's for the brothers and sisters here in Los Angeles. Hopefully, as this thing grows, as it evolves, you know, we'll be able to, you know, make plans to go to another state, man, and do the same thing. You know what I mean? Think about that. That's a good look. That would be a good look. But yeah, that's something I was talking to Poke about, man. And a grand idea, you know. Again, it was also something because me and the wife had just talked about it again. I think Rakufu or the homie had spoke on it as well. You know, so it's something to look forward to. You know, it's something to look forward to. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Let's get back into this. Get down right here, though. All right. I see you, RGC, heating up. James went on to say, man, it's a sad reality that I personally don't want to have to live through. And I would take it we're talking about the inevitable war, imminent war, something of that nature. All right. You're going to say we can do what we need to without war, but them same ones instigating war ain't fighting for us or our people. And that's the funny part. Well, not the funny part, but that's the part that make you wonder. You know, you're like, damn, man, what the hell? You want to start these wars, but you won't go to war. Your children won't go to war. Your grandchildren won't go to war. Y'all find a way to always keep them out of conflicts. You start, you know. And again, like, you know, for me, it would just, I think, man, the people wised up and be like, nah, man, y'all go and do that. You know, I'm not fighting your war. You know, what we getting out of it? What are we getting out of it? You know? So there you go. Can't see it either, man. Lisa Moore said B1 black first. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. James said women shouldn't be built like no man, but that stuff is messed up, bro. I'm telling you, if you're willing to go, I mean, man, I dropped it. Well, wait, that won't drop till tomorrow. Damn it. Sorry about that. It'll drop tomorrow, man. But you could probably go on the internet, man, and see that shit, man, and you'll be like just thrown aback, you know, just flabbergasted. Like, what the hell? You know, I mean, seriously, huge. I mean, huge, man. Muscle huge. Huge. Muscle huge. Why I keep saying huge? Huge. you know. But go check that out, man. It will be dropping tomorrow on All Things Politics, though. Yeah, man. You won't. Yeah, you probably can't imagine it, but once you see it, you won't be able to forget it. You know what I mean? That's how bad it is, if you ask me. That's how bad it is. James gonna say, "Bub, if her shoulder's bigger than mine, I'm getting the hell out of there." Yeah, man. And again, a lot of them couldn't understand how guys didn't want to have nothing to do with them. You know, guys who were around them, they thought were, cool with them or in a relationship, didn't want to have any intimacy with them. So, just imagine then what that led them to. And that's, again, a lot of them have died just from the use of the steroid, after continuous use throughout the years. What they called it, SCD. What was that? Sudden cardiac death. Yeah, that's what it is. So, it's a shame though. No, you don't want nobody around you or in the bed with you, man, that's bigger than you like that, man. That can manhandle you, man. I'd tell you that'd be a nightmare. That would be a nightmare. I was like, hell, no, man. No, and it's chauvinistic in the sense because how I'm looking at and thinking about it. Ain't no way in the world you're supposed to be bigger than me and stronger than me. I'm a man. Nah, man, I can't imagine that type of shit, man. I wouldn't want no parts of it. I would be against hey man, yeah, it's all right for women wanting to be fit. Yeah, you want to, support that, but I think there's a limit. If a woman, that's toned up, look good, but your muscles should not be bulging out or bigger than mine. Your shoulders should not be wider than mine. And like I said, I think I'm still a fit brother at 62. Well, I'll be 62 in August. But man, looking at that, I'm like, hell no, man. No. That's more than a turn off. That's, to me, it's just disgusting. Yeah, no, man, you would be in a no-win situation with a woman like that in your bed. You don't, yeah, you wouldn't want that, man. Lisa Moore said, no disrespect. I don't say much, but I love pure chocolate. All right, go on then, girl. Shit. Most sisters do though. All right. Shoot. Yeah. And most brothers love chocolate sisters. Just saying. Yeah, she said LOL. All right, girl. All right. Y'all be cool now. James said, that's right, Lisa Moore. I appreciate you, Queen. Happy Thursday. Nothing but all my love and respect to you. One. That's funny. James said, I agree, bub. Yeah, man. So, that's just what it is, man. Let's be real, man, about a whole lot of stuff, man. Again, man, the world has changed and not for the better. There are all types of things going on, man, in the world and in our communities, man, that again, that leave a lot of us scratching our heads like, what the hell? So it's just a matter, okay, do we adapt and adjust? Do we, how do we deal with all these issues, man, that we're seeing take place in society today? Again, man, if you look closely enough, you will see the changes in society. You will see where some things that were tradition, that were just normal and commonplace no longer exist. That's the effect of change. But again, is that change natural? Was it a natural process of evolution, or was it manufactured? You know what I mean? Was this change orchestrated by those who had the power to change it? Was it done by them? And if so, for what reason? What's the reason behind all this change, we see? And again, a lot of it isn't natural. A lot of it is not natural, no matter what nobody says. Another change that takes effect, that is taking effect in the communities of, well, the world over, or is technology, social media. It's changing the world. A lot of us don't see that. A lot of us cannot recognize the change that's occurring as a result of technology. And again, it's not all good, but we're being pumped that, we're being told that the narrative is that it's good for us, in what capacity? Okay, I can communicate a little faster, with my wife than, I was able to do, or we were able to do long time ago before we were married. Back then we had to go to the phone booth, had your little black book in your pocket, go to the phone booth, put the quarter in there, man. Hey, man, or the house phone, you had a landline, now they just boop, bop, there you go. And as a result, man, people don't interact anymore. You'd be surprised to notice the statistic in terms of people staying indoors more. Damn, that reminds me of a movie. The Surrogate, I think it's called. I'm trying to remember the main actor in it, but it was The Surrogate. And in this movie, technology had basically taken over everything. So most people stayed inside on these contraptions, like we have the Oculus, the virtual reality headgear, and they had that, and they're sitting in there, and some of them actually, there was that, but that's what they were, on. They were stuck on it. I think it was called The Surrogate. I'm not sure, but I think so. And if you know the definition of surrogate, then it makes sense. But um living life had been replaced with technology, to where people live life indoors on these gadgets. They didn't go outside anymore. They didn't communicate in person anymore. Everything was done through that headset. You know, the virtual reality. The VR headgear, and I mean everything they did. You know, uh, probably except for eating. Again, that brings me to mind the animation movie Wally. Whatever had happened to the earth, man had you know pretty much destroyed the earth, and they had to jump on these hundreds of spaceships just to survive, because the earth couldn't sustain them anymore. While they're up in space, man, the longer they're up there, they created these gadgets, this technology. They sit in these chairs, got this big screen, and that's all that mattered. They didn't speak to anybody. If they did, it was through the screen. These are some of the changes that we're starting to experience. It's on a small scale right now, but trust and know, if if society keeps going in that direction, it's just a matter of time. If the world survives all this other BS going on, that'll be us. You know, life imitating art. So it's a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on. That's funny. All right, all right. Lisa Moore said, "That's right, King James Cash, peace, blessings, and love." James said, "A lot of change." James says, "A lot of the change has been by force and design." Yeah, more by design than force, if you really think about it. See, because um, again, this is not, none of this is by accident. I think learned they prepared the people a long time ago for certain things to take root, or to take place, or to grow, or to become this phenomenon we see, especially with technology, social media, AI. This shit is all planned, man. you know and there's no need to force any of this on us, because again, these people have the best of the best at these round tables and inside these think tanks, to where, yeah, they bring in these super psychologists, these people, these sociology experts, for real, and they say, man, try this, try this, try this, because they understand, most of them do, how the human mind works. Most of everything, man, we involve ourselves with has an underlying addiction to it, mostly everything. Our brains are wired to want certain things over other things, you know what I mean? And you don't have to be, addiction doesn't have to be in regards to or dealing with talking about drugs, alcohol, or sex. There are other addictions going on, and I think these people understand that, so there's no need to force nobody to do nothing. All you got to do is just set it out there long enough, hype it up, create a narrative that make it interesting, pique people's interest, to want to go and check that out, and then boom, they got them hook, line, and sinker, you know. I think that's the way that goes, but still it could be that, very well be that, in terms of how they go about doing things through force, could be one way, and design, going hand in foot, there's that possibility, man. Real shit. James, you're going to say, man, I don't agree with a whole lot of change. Some things need to remain as they are. If it ain't broke, why fix it? That part. I think that those who want things to change, they want them to change because they need them to change, for the fact that they understand that the human mind does evolve, it does grow. If we're not, or if we're not fixated on something, we'll find something to fixate on. You know what I mean? So I think that those who want things to change, they want them to change their way in order to keep people, doing what they want them to do. And in that way, or through that get down right there, man, they're able to retain and keep power. I agree. A lot of things shouldn't have changed, should not change. A lot of traditions, like I started out talking about, traditions and just way, cultures and stuff like that should have never been, should have never changed, or should have never been tampered with and affected, by those who want change for their benefit. And that's why I think a lot of what we see, or why we see a lot of what we see, is because those in power, those who, corporations especially, man, um, have business plans, in terms of how they, want to see the world in order to sell their products. But again, I think it's all a part of a script that was given to them by those who run everything. Okay, corporation XYZ, this is what we want you guys to, do research on, and boom, 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 create this product, man, and put it out there. Put it out there. It's no different than how they pitch the idea of buying a new car, or a home, pair of tennis shoes, something to eat, you know. And again, we talking about change, how food is changing. Again, the biochemistry, or the way the body's supposed to really work, that changes in full effect. The foods we eat now cause illnesses. You have more people now today, man, suffering from diabetes than ever before. A disease that didn't even run in their family. High blood pressure is up, all this stuff, man, heart disease, all this stuff. These changes, or, people, experiencing these illnesses are because of the changes that those in power have brought to the table to help, not necessarily speed up the lifespan of people, help them, carry them, kill them. That might be part of it, though. But it's done, man. Again, man, like I say, man, just to change, using their idea of how the world should be. They want to change the world, to their image, in terms of how they see or think the world should be. And that's the way the powerful think. And they think like that, again, just to keep power. I don't doubt it for a minute, man. Poke Mitchell said, helping my wife bring in the groceries. Be with y'all in a minute. All right, man. That's some man shit right there. Well, go out there and get them bags. I remember mom's man come from grocery shopping. We had a green station wagon. Little did she know we were more than willing and happy to go get them groceries. You know what I mean? But she'll pull up, y'all come get these bags. We run out the house like, we'd already in the window waiting, on the front porch or something, man, in a hurry. Go digging through them bags. Okay, what kind of snacks up in these thistles, What's in these bags that we can munch on, and enjoy? Yeah, man, change, man. It's inevitable, but I don't think change shouldn't be at the discretion of those in power. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things, man, should be just left well enough alone. Let nature and let life take its course. I think on an organic get out. Don't be in a hurry to make me sick or to see me die. You know what I'm saying? Make room for those who come in or whatever, or to make you richer. But that's the thing about change. It's done just like that, man. It's done for reasons a lot of us don't get, don't understand, won't comprehend. Probably won't get it till we're on our deathbed, going like a light. Be the last thing we think about. Like, damn, they played me, It's sometimes how it works, man. That's sometimes how it works. But yeah, so change, it's good, but again, only when I think it's natural. It's organic. It ain't something that's tampered with. Exploited. You know, change is a good thing, man. Change is good. But we should not have to lose ourselves. Our heritage or anything, man. Our traditions. Our customs and culture. As a result of a change that's been basically, like you said, pushed upon us. Even like again, I agree to some degree, forced upon us. The foods, man. We in a bad way, man. When it comes to this food, I was thinking about this the other night. Most people don't even cook anymore. You know, because I can recall when there wasn't that many fast food joints. There was McDonald's, there was Jack in the Box, and Burger King, Church's Fried Chicken, Kentucky Fried. There were a few, but that was something. That was like those were like treats. When you can afford that type of thing. Otherwise you get a bag of beans, your mama or daddy get a bag of beans, bag of rice, man, a couple of ham hocks, man, make some cornbread, get a box of that Cinch cornbread mix, and boom. And all that, man, was like under $10. Now, man, you see a fast food joint, 2 or 3 on every corner, on every street damn near, 2 or 3. And people, this is another thing that tripped me out, man. And we don't think about shit. We don't really focus on what's going on around us. Now everybody's saying, damn, man, how that ethnic group all of a sudden have body? You know what I mean? When did they get hips and thighs and butt? Fast food. Them steroids, man. People ain't paying attention. It's them steroids, man. Because they're not copulating or uh, having intercourse with blacks like that. It's in their genes down to be that way. Those are steroids, man. Those are steroids, man. Just look at the generational difference from certain ethnic groups. Let's say 20 years ago. Let's say 30 years ago. And for some of us who remember, let's say 40 years ago. Wasn't no such thing. Was no such thing for those ethnic groups to have that type of shape. It was rare. It was rare, man. We used to clown back in the day, say, oh, they got that dreaded disease. And they say, which one is that? Oh, no acetol. You know what I mean? You can't say that no more. These ethnic groups now are like, damn, is that real? The BBL, is that real? And for the most part, most of them are real. And it is as a result of what they're putting in the food, how they grow the food, you know. So crazy thing, man, but it's real. It's real. Okay, James said, man, that's what I did, bub. Looking to see if there's something for me in them groceries. Love to all the beautiful queen mothers and queen wives. Real shit. You know. Help out the women as much as they need it, man. We got a lot of independent sisters, but it shouldn't have to be that way. Men should always be there for the women, sisters, aunts, moms, grandmoms. Real stuff on me. You're going to say, man, I know one thing, bub. I never grew up rich, but there was always food on the table and a blanket on my bed. That was more than enough for me. I wasn't spoiled coming up as a kid. Yeah, you know, and that's a beautiful thing, man, to grow up and not have to go through or go without. You know what I mean? Um, it can be said, man, a lot of us, we weren't rich, didn't start out rich, but we didn't start out poor either. But as a result of just living life and things happening, a lot of us go a day without food on the table, without a blanket, or a sheet, what I mean? Crazy, man, but true. And again, man, for those who didn't have to go through that, man, what a blessing. How fortunate you are, or you were, to not have to experience that. Real shit. Queen Nzinga said, man, was in heaven with them beans and rice. Yeah, you could, man, look, that's just true. That's the truth. There was only one kind of bean, especially when we're dealing with beans that black people eat, that I did not eat, and it used to piss moms off. You know what I mean? Because again, man, money was tight. Didn't have much. Was black beans. You couldn't give me, man. The wife would tell you if she ever come on the thing, man. I just started eating black beans maybe 5 years ago, maybe 6. I'm in prison. You couldn't give me a black bean. I just, but yeah, growing up, lima beans, any name the beans black people ate, man, I loved them. Other than black beans, I loved them. You couldn't tell me nothing about no beans, man. Shit. Not a damn thing. And then, back in the day, you get them tortilla shells, them flour shell, put that bean on top of that thistle, man, a little cheese, put down in that bottom boiler. Hey, man, shit. Beans and rice. We used to eat our beans and rice with sugar. I don't know why we did that, but we did. We put sugar in our beans by themselves. We used to always be able to ask my mom, put extra sugar in the cornbread. We loved our cornbread sweet. Mash that shit up in them beans, man. A bowl of beans with a slice of cornbread. Heaven. Real shit. All right. All right, Queen Zinger. You take a brother back. Man. Yeah. Poke said, Poke Mitchell Podcast TV said, Bub, you right. Change is inevitable. And the truth is, we can't get there the way we are. Right. A lot of things need to change with us. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Some things should change. We should evolve to a great extent, especially just looking at, the condition or the way our people are in, we need change. No doubt about that, man. No doubt. James said, I love my women natural. No disrespect. No disrespect otherwise. Right. Yeah, man. Just something about a natural black woman, just the essence, just the man, a natural black woman, just there's a certain essence, that's a part of them. You know what I mean? That whole look, man. That whole look. But again, change occurred, and it's been happening for a long time though. But a lot about black women, begin to change a long time ago. And that was, the reason for that could be, you could point to a lot of issues, you know what I mean? You can point to a lot of issues just in terms of why a lot of what was natural or what is natural about women changed, You go on, Jane, say nothing more beautiful than a queen sister, and that's on me. All right, bro. Folks say, Bub, look at ICE, how they pushing up on people with masks on. Imagine, man, what happened? Oh, okay, there you go. Bub, look at ICE, how they're pushing up on people with masks on. Imagine them pulling up on us back in the day when we loved the curve of the streets, right? That wouldn't have been good, man. Nah, not at all. In fact, we would probably go hunting them. Ain't no telling, man. Yeah, that wouldn't have been a wise move. Mm-mm. Yeah, them black eyed peas, man. I still love me some black eyed peas, man. And them red beans, them pinto beans, lima beans, man. I love me some lima beans too. God damn. And kidney beans. You say you can't do them red beans, man. Shoot, I love them. Beans and rice with some oxtail and that cornbread and slaw. You had me all the way up to slaw. There's another one. I don't eat no coleslaw, man. I wouldn't give a damn. Since I was a kid, man. Nah. Can't stand no coleslaw. Don't even put it on my plate. All that wet ass, runny ass mayonnaise and shit. Nah, man. I ain't with none of that. Ugh. But I love cabbage. I just don't like coleslaw. Nasty shit. You going to say the presence, the voice, the eyes, the skin, the essence of a black woman is simply unmatched. I've always felt that in my whole life. Can no one put me in check other than a sister, period. I hear you. All right, Kimberly Mitchell, good to see you, sister. She said, Hoover, hey, real ones at work. Just wanted to tell y'all I love you. And if no one told you lately, God bless you and God bless you and take care of each other. Shame the devil. There you go. There you go. James said, damn, bub, I got you. What about rice and cold potato? What about a nice cold potato or mac salad? I like a macaroni salad. Yeah. I'll eat a cold potato. Them potatoes are one of my favorites. Love French fries. Not from these fast food we air from. But I'll fuck some fries up, man. But love potatoes, man. That is a staple. Damn, that's crazy you mentioned that. Coming home today, me and the wife, guy, come home from the store, got this big ass bag of potatoes. I said, man, everybody love potatoes, huh? I said, yeah, that's a staple. That's what that is. I don't know. I recall reading somewhere that we're not supposed to eat potatoes. I forgot what. And it wasn't long ago, man. Maybe 6, 7 months ago, I read that. I was like, oh man, you stupid. I'm gonna eat some potatoes. Shit. Don't tell me about no potatoes ain't no gonna do nothing for you. That's a damn lie. Shit, ask the Irish. They take potatoes, man. Hey, lifesavers, And talking about the potato famine back in Ireland, man. Them, they were going through some shit with the British, Yeah. Love me some potatoes, man. One thing, I don't like no sour cream either on my shit. Don't put no sour cream on my potato. You put some butter, put some cheese on that thing, man. You hook it up. I might put ranch dressing on my baked potato, Shit, I'll fuck the potato up, man. Don't give me lime, boy. Man. Yeah, everybody getting them air fryers, man. We were just talking about that the other night as well. Be 20 years before they tell us, oh, if you use the air fryer and you're feeling sick, well, this is the you know. Crazy, man. Crazy. Everybody's getting them air fryers, man. I think they're good. I think they're good to have because, like I say, I don't eat a lot of grease anymore. We use olive oil. Well, the wife uses olive oil. Especially when she cook for us, she and I. My fries aren't greasy, they aren't deep fried, none of that shit. So yeah, air fryers come in handy for the time being, man. As far as we know, they okay. You know what I mean? Air fryers okay. Like I said, man, maybe 10, 15 years, we'll hear something though. Hope not, but possibility or the chances are we will. All right, James said, what kind of oil do you prefer to use, bub? I use olive oil. Again, just so everybody know, I don't cook. I was in the joint, man. I was a cook. I worked in the kitchen. I hated that shit. I only stayed a cook for a while because they was one of the better pay numbers. And I used to tell myself, man, if I ever get out of here, man, I ain't cooking shit. Now, every now and then, you know what I'm saying, I go, fry some eggs, hook up, breakfast, for the wife. She hollering something all day. Yeah, man, I don't cook, man. I don't keep 100. I don't cook, I don't cook, man. Shit. I ain't ashamed to say it. I can cook. I just don't cook, man. Yeah, but the wife, she uses olive oil. Excuse me, y'all. She uses olive oil though. Yeah, olive oil. Pretty sure that. I was about to say grapeseed oil, but no, she uses olive oil. She's hollering and screaming. Jen say, man, they got all kinds of oil: corn, sunflower seed, grapeseed. Yeah, we use olive though. All right, Chris, what it do, mister? Peace and blessings, bro. Good to see you here, man. You say, yeah, you got to be careful with potatoes. Too much can spike your blood. Yeah. I read this maybe 6-7 months ago, saying potatoes, you shouldn't eat potatoes, And again, I was like, shit, but, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. She probably reading that, James. Yeah. You say much respect, much love, respect to your queen, bud. Yeah. You're going to say I cook as much as possible. Eggs and grilled cheese, some pasta or spaghetti, the fried chicken or some meatloaf. But otherwise, I stay on the barbecue grill with mine. Yeah, man. I ate a few eggs. I love grilled cheese. I ain't had none in a minute. I love grilled cheese though. I don't like a lot of pasta. I'm not a fan of pasta, man. Period. Not a fan. I mean, I will eat it, but if I don't have to, I don't eat it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't eat chicken and meat and stuff. No meats. So yeah, most of our people do though. Brothers, man, especially, man, even some sisters, man, to get out there, man, shoot, I'm finna go grill. Would rather, not stand over a hot stove, but put that meat on the grill, stand back, you know what I'm saying, have their music going, man, you know what I'm saying, doing what they do, man, enjoying grilling, Ain't in that hot ass kitchen. That's for sure. That's for damn sure. Okay. I know I've been getting this. I've been getting it. All right. Hey, look, y'all, I got to get ready to cut out. Got something to take care of. And I just want to say, man, again, it's always a pleasure to tap in with the people, man, and see how everybody's doing, grand rising to everybody. Peace and blessings to your families, yourselves and your families. Just love yourself. Love yourself so you can take care of somebody that need that love, man. If you got it in you, there's plenty to give then. Take care of yourself so you can take care of those men who need taken care of and support. That's just some real shit. All right. Show that love, man. Show it, to others as you would show it to yourself. And if you don't show yourself love, then you need to get on the right track. Get to the point where you're giving yourself the love you deserve. Self-love. All right. All right, Chris, I see you, man. It's all love, bro. Chris said, but if you still work out, that can balance out the negative intake in your diet. Are you still doing your 500 push-ups a day? Nah, homie. I gotta admit it, man. I gotta get back on it, man. Nah, I haven't. I ain't, man. I get up in the morning. That's no lie, man. I do 400-500. Like, it's nothing. I mean, I'm pretty sure I can still get down there. I knock 100 out, man. Good ones too. Good ones. 100 straight, get up, breathe about 10, 15 seconds, go back down. I haven't been on my game, man. And I've been claiming, I've been promising myself I'm gonna get back into it. I got all this shit out in the yard, man, that get me back in shape. I'm not out of shape, honestly. No pot belly, none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I would like to just tone it up a little bit, you know what I mean? Put that definition back in it, So I got to get back on it. And push-ups are, a lot of people don't know this though, Chris. Good point about push-ups. Push-ups are one of the best calisthenics to do, to tone your body, especially from your waist up, your back, your arm, your back arm, your bicep, your chest, even helps out, your stomach, your abs. So I'm gonna get back on it, man. You just damn. Kimberly said, man, y'all got me hungry. How funny. I was just looking at Snoop Dogg and E40's cookbook, The Goon with the Spoon. Huh. Yeah, I fell off, bro. I'm gonna get back on it though. I thought about that the other day. Getting back on it, man. I brought home my workout sweatshirt. I still got this sweatshirt, man. And it's still in good condition. Believe it or not, man. I had this sweatshirt since 1996. Back then we get them, cut the sleeve off about here, mid forearm, sew it up. I still got this sweatshirt, man. No holes in it. It ain't tattered. A little thin, but yeah, I'm gonna get in that thing, man. I'm thinking about working out, man. Do some recording, do a live while I work out or whatever. I'm thinking about that, but I'm gonna get back on it, bro. Yeah, I fell off. It's due time, though. It's due time. All right. With that said, man, love everybody, man. All right. Take care of yourselves again, man. Love yourself. All right. You are, you have been, and you will be under the groove. Power is in the people. All love.
Count the names, count the bodies, count the victory. Cullen Hughes, Hearst, and writing future history. From the Apollo to the borough to the sphere, where the echo of those Harlem nights still ringing clear. So when they ask what happened in those tenement flats, between the spirituals and where consciousness is at, tell them we transformed suffering to scholarship and song. Tell them we've been telling you we're brilliant all along. The Renaissance of prologue, every decade since the sequel. Every black child born's continuation of the people who survived the Middle Passage, survived the Jim Crow laws, and built magnificence from nothing but their vision and their flaws. That's in the sergeant. This is once a less than Hatters, hats, and Mercedes. Please don't you, I can't stop us. Power sensitive, but to the applause for polls. Need your data, talks and counsel any problem when the wet just wanna build the seats and bait. Now don't get the pause. It's just erasing up the times, plead them walking soft the main, make it honor fans, turn and neck and love the durn suffers like a kisher. You went wrong to preaching up on side as each lunbitch on the shit and untrue seeing vets and wonder very it's on Gary Land. Be hell in heaven, you see what the bonafide. You wait something for the harbor rate to keep him through the trumpets on the boards to the singer land is carried open slowly. Keep us looking on my mother, break your chair and resi for the heat and let the recipe is every time we keep a spawn.